Application of Security Principles by Charles Lee for the class CYB 515, Enterprise Security Infrastructure and Design, Grand Canyon University. The objectives of the slideshow are to describe 8 security failures, relate the security failures to the principles of cybersecurity, the CIA triad specifically, explain the violated design principles, and recommend the design principles needed for remote workers. Security failures. 1. Password sharing. Many users like to share passwords or even sell their passwords. A user could potentially share a password for several different devices or different companies or any other manner. This creates a security issue in a few different ways. Obviously, having someone else signing with another person's information is already an issue. But more so, a hacker could be sold the passwords, and this could allow the entire company or network to be attacked very easily. Using personal devices for work. The majority of companies do not send laptops to workers due to the extra expenses needed. Many workers who work remotely use their own devices for said work. Usually this is a laptop, sometimes it's a phone or even a tablet. The issue is that the personal devices could already be infected with various viruses and all manner of other issues. It would be recommended for companies, obviously, to send them laptops, but that's not always an option, so you have to figure out another way around that. Shadow IT, the unauthorized use of software and systems, instead of what the company and the IT department approve. Usually employees will use whatever is the most convenient for them, and this creates many openings for hackers. This also could mean if you're recommended to use one software and you find one that works better, or just using something like social media on the same system that is being used by the users. This creates the problem of making many openings and making the system very vulnerable. Phishing attacks. These type of attacks can be spread through various means. Emails is the easiest and the most widespread. If an employee gets an email that looks official, like from their boss, they're very likely to open that email. And if it's connected to the company's network, and it is not in fact an official email, it could be a phishing attack. This type of attack can take large amounts of data and information at one time or over a long period of time. These attacks can go unnoticed, or they can take so much data that there's nothing left behind. Patches and updates. If users do not update their software to the appropriate settings, according to the IT team's statistics, the system itself will be left vulnerable to various attacks, as well the network that it is connected to. This could mean your operating system, this could mean the version of Google that you're using, this could be using the incorrect software at the same time. It can lead to all types of problems. The reason why it's an issue is if you have a security system designed to protect a specific operating system using a specific program, and you're not running that actual operating system, the security can't do anything to help you. Security failure 6. Weak passwords. Any form of weak password on any system can cause a problem. Giving a laptop a decent password alone could prevent someone from hacking into it. But a poor password for the network connection or your laptop or anything in between could create a large opportunity for an attack. Whether it's your laptop at home, people could potentially get a hold of your laptop through a network. They could access it by hacking into it, and if your password is very simple, a basic program could potentially crack your password. Same with the network and anything in between. It would be comparable to leaving the front door of your house open in a neighborhood that is known for break-ins. It's just not a good idea in general. Improper data access. If an employee decides to access any company data through an unsafe internet connection, like a public Wi-Fi for instance, then anyone who is on that same Wi-Fi has the opportunity to attack the connected device and have access to anything that device is connected to. So if you're at a public library, if you're at McDonald's, if you're at Walmart, anywhere that has public Wi-Fi at all. Even some places where you share Wi-Fi. So if you have an apartment complex where there's one Wi-Fi connection, it's not safe to do anything important or official while you're connected to that type of Wi-Fi. VPN use, or more a lack thereof. Those who search the internet can be subject to any and all manner of attacks. If you use a VPN, you could help a little bit, but not using a VPN is just allowing everyone to see and know that your computer is there and accessing different things. It is recommended to use VPN at all times, even if you're not doing it for your company time. You should just use it to keep your system and your information safe and protected. CIA Triad, the confidentiality. Weak passwords are obviously an issue, and having no data encryption, nothing to keep your information safe, nothing to protect anything. That is obviously an issue of confidentiality. Everything you have can be accessed by somebody else very, very easily. Integrity. If you share your password, or if you're using personal devices, or this even could be a public Wi-Fi issue as well, this compromises the integrity of your system. That means that nothing that your system is connected to, or nothing that comes from that user, is safe to even access or even look at for the company anymore. And availability. DDoS attacks can limit server access, they can interrupt the network access, they can destroy all kinds of different problems, and you have various other issues as well. Even something as simple as a power outage could be an availability issue. Violated design principles. This is usually what creates some level of problems. The simplicity is the most basic and easy one to understand and the most important. I usually follow the KISS method, which is referenced as keep it simple, stupid. Though it may seem vulgar, this saying is accurate and useful in most things. The design of a network is no exception. Same with a system and your PC itself. Having a network that is very simple to understand, simple to use, and simple to access the security of sounds counterintuitive, but in fact, having something that people can add extra security to more easily is far more useful. And least privileged. This idea limits access to what by only giving people access to what they need. Only allowing them to access one thing. So for instance, if someone is a secretary and they only have access to the phone and a small Excel sheet, for instance, that would be considered least privileged. They have very limited access to only exactly what they need. This means that if anything else is attempted to be accessed, they'll automatically be denied. Why would this be a good idea to follow? If it is followed, then you only can damage what you have access to. So if everyone only has access to a small section and something is damaged in that section, they can first figure out who it is, they can figure out what happened, and they can minimize the risk to the company and other users very quickly. Recommended principles for remote workers. Using an updated system with all the company recommended security settings is a must for everyone. Change passwords at least monthly. More often would be recommended, but most people just won't do that anyway. Make the password also a very good and very complex password, but make it one that you can remember. And do not record it on any other devices. If you have difficulty remembering passwords, write it down and keep it somewhere in a physical form. Have a selected device dedicated to work and only work. Don't use a device that you use social media or anything else on. If that is a possibility, you should always do it. and keeping the system updated and security updated as well, and always use a VPN. These are my references that I used during this to gather this information. Here and here.